Hello everyone, welcome back to the BioTuber. I am Swastik and today we are going to discuss about titration of amino acids and the isoelectric point. So what is titration? Titration by definition means it is a quantitative method to determine the concentration of an unknown chemical using a chemical of known concentration. That is, if two different chemicals are given, one with a known concentration and one with unknown concentration, we will be able to determine the concentration of unknown using this process or using this method. So the best example is the acid base titration that we all must have done in our school days. That is the determination of either the concentration of HCl or NaOH via the titration method. Now the question arises is why titration of amino acids is important, like why we are studying titration of amino acids. So if we look into the structure of amino acid again, then it has four different groups. One is the amino group, one is the carboxyl group, one is the hydrogen atom, and the R group. Now the amino group and the carboxylic acid group or the carboxyl group both have ionizable groups or both are ionizable groups. So in a amino acid there are two ionizable groups that are present, and the structure or the dominant ionic form or the predominant ionic form will be dependent on the pH of the solution or the pH of the surrounding. So whether it will exist in this form or some other form will be determined by the surrounding media. So that is why the titration of amino acids is important, because it illustrates the effect of pH on the structure of amino acids. Like what will be the structure of amino acid, which predominant species will be present, whether it will be in zwitterionic form or some other form, that is determined by the pH of the surrounding environment or the pH of the solution. So let us look into detail of it, how it is actually happening by taking an example. In this case, I have taken the example of alanine, which is one of the simplest amino acid with a chiral center. Actually glycine is the simplest one, but it lacks a chiral center. That's why we have taken the example of alanine in this case. So at low pH, the low pH means it is highly acidic environment. Under that condition, since H plus is present in abundance, so when the carboxylic acid group accepts the H plus, it is protonated, and the amino group is also protonated, as a result of which the overall charge now is +1. That is, we can consider the net charge to be +1. Now as the pH increases by the process of titration using NaOH, there is a shift in the pH value, and as a result of which the deprotonation of carboxylic acid group takes place. The first carboxylic acid loses its H plus, as a result of which we can see the presence of a positive charge on the amino group and a negative charge on the carboxylic acid group, and these two neutralize each other, as a result of which the net charge here is 0. And at this point, when the net charge of an amino acid is 0, it is considered as the isoelectric point. So we can consider the pH at which the amino acid is in zwitterionic form or the net charge is 0. We call that state or that pH to be the isoelectric point of the amino acid. Now isoelectric point is also important because at this pH the amino acid is electrophoretically non-mobile in nature and least soluble. That is, at suppose this pi value is around 6, so at a pH of 6, alanine will not move in the media or in the solution, and there will be an overall charge neutrality, and the solubility will also be the least. Now with the further increase in the pH, we will see the deprotonation of the amino group. That is, the amino group loses its proton, and now the net charge is -1 because of the presence of the negative charge on the carboxylic acid group or the carboxyl group. These reactions are accompanied by, since it is taking place in two different stages or two different steps, these are followed by two different values of pK. pK is the dissociation constant, and K is actually the dissociation constant, and P is equal to negative log of the dissociation constant, and these values actually help us to determine the pi. The pi, that is, we can consider the isoelectric point, which is by abbreviation we can call it, is given the value of pi, and pi is equal to pk1 plus pk2 divided by 2. It is simply pk1 plus pk2 divided by 2. But this method is followed, or simple method is followed, for non-ionizable group, that is amino acids having non-ionizable side chains. As we can see, the CH3 here, the side chain is a methyl group which is a non-ionizable in nature. So for these non-ionizable amino acids, the process of determining the pi is quite easy. But when we move into amino acids having ionizable side chains, the scenario actually changes a bit and the determination of pi has to be rethinked. So let's look into the titration of amino acids having ionizable side chains. Okay, so now let's take a look into the titration of amino acids with ionizable side chains. And for the first case, we have taken the example of glutamic acid, which contains a carboxylic acid in its side chain. So at low pH, the amino acid is predominantly present in the protonated stage, where the amino group is present in the form of NH3+, and both the carboxyl group are protonated and are present in COOH form. Under this condition, the net charge is +1, and that is because of the amino group. As the pH increases by addition of NaOH or any other base, there is deprotonation happening first in the carboxyl group, which is attached to the alpha carbon. So at the first protonation, now the negative charge and the first positive charge are neutralized, as a result of which the net charge now is 0, and it is the isoelectric point, or the pi, where the amino acid is present as a neutral amino acid. Now as the pH further increases, the deprotonation further increases, and now the carboxyl group which is in the side chain gets deprotonated, and now the positive negative charge is not neutralized and there is an overall net negative charge. So the net charge is now -1, which is because of the carboxyl group, additional carboxyl group. With the further increase in the pH, we see another deprotonation happening, and now it is happening in the amino group. So now the total net negative charge is -2, and because of the presence of 2 carboxyl group in the same amino acid. So as you can see, it becomes a bit complicated now with the presence of an ionizable side chain. And now the question comes is how to determine the pi if the values of pK are given. As we can see, the first transition is accompanied by pK1 value, the second by pK2, and the third by pK3. And these are the negative log of the equilibrium constant at these places, or this transition. Now we have to look into the transition for 0 to 1 and -1. In that transition zone, actually the pi value lies. So in this case, as we can see, the transition from +1, 0 to -1 is happening for the values of pK1 and pK2. We will take the pK1 and pK2 values to determine the pi. So in this case, the pi value is equal to pK1 plus pK2 divided by 2. So we have to look for the transition for the neutrality, that is +1, 0 to -1, or it may be -1, 0 to +1. So this transition zone and whichever pK value is accompanying this transition will be taken for the determination of the pi value. Let's take another example, and this time we have taken the case of histidine, which has a side chain of amino group. That is a ring cyclic actually amino group is present, but it imparts a positive charge, net positive charge to the amino acid. At low pH, again the amino acid will be in the protonated state because of the H plus ions that are present in the environment or the solution. So now the amino group, the alpha amino group is protonated, and also the side chain amino group is protonated, as a result of which the net charge now is +2. Then as the pH increases by addition of a base, there is deprotonation in the carboxylic group. The carboxyl acid group loses the proton first, and as a result of which the net charge now becomes +1 because of the amino group or the positively charged amino group in the side chain. With a further increase in the pH, now the overall charge is neutralized because the side chain amino group loses its proton and the negatively charged carboxyl group neutralizes the positively charged amino group, as a result of which the net charge now is 0 and it is the isoelectric point, because at this point the overall charge is 0 and this amino acid will be electrophoretically non-mobile as well as least soluble around this pH. As the pH is further increased, there is another deprotonation and now the amino group loses its proton, as a result of which the net charge around the amino acid is -1 because of the carboxyl group. Now, for this case, the Pi value is determined using the values of pK2 and pK3 because we will see the transition for 0 around these two values. So the +1 0 or to -1 or -1 0 to +1 transition takes place with accompanied by the values of pK2 and pK3. So for determining the Pi of histidine, the Pi is determined by pK2 plus pK3 divided by 2, and from the values pK values as the pK values are given, we will be easily able to determine this Pi values. So it is very important to keep this in mind, like how to determine the Pi value. For non-ionizable side chains, it is quite simple. The two pK values are given, you have to just add and divide by 2. But for amino acid with ionizable side chain, always remember to look for the transition for -1 0 to +1 or +1 0 to 1. The transitions that are taking place at that particular to maintain the neutrality, those are actually the pK's values which will be chosen for determining the Pi. And as stated earlier, these are quite important with the perspective of both CSIR and entrance exams, because my personal experience, I can say that I have faced this kind of question twice while giving the CSIR net exam, and these are means you might get a bit like confused when you see the actual values, but if you remember this trick for the seeing the neutral transition, then you can easily do the calculations. So if you have any queries, you can put your queries in the comment section and I will try to answer them. And so that's all for today. Thank you. And if you like the channel, please subscribe to my channel and we will be having new topics in the coming sessions. Thank you.